Now, 4 days after what many described as historic presidential polls in Nigeria, the country's electoral commission has declared the ruling party candidate, Bola Tinubu, winner of the presidential elections. Tinubu's ruling All Progressive Congress polled 8.7 million votes plus to defeat PDP's Atiku Abubakar, who scored about 6.9 million votes, and Labour Party's Peter Obi, who garnered 6.1 million votes.
The victorious APC has urged the opposition parties to accept defeat, but the result is likely to lead to a court challenge by Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. Peter Obi's running mate, Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed, yesterday announced that a legal challenge was already being mounted. Meanwhile, observers said the polls were mostly peaceful, though delays caused some voters to wait until the following day to cast their ballots. Joining us this morning to assess the exercise and the likelihood of a court case is public affairs analyst Ezekiel Inya-Etok. Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I'd like you to please unmute your microphone. We've seen the outcome of the polls. The certificate of return presented.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I had asked our earlier guest this. Unfortunately, the network didn't allow us to connect properly with him. So I guess I'll pose the question to you. I'm sure you've seen the speech of the president-elect where he had said that he would like to cooperate, to work together with all the other presidential aspirants. His running, what would I call them? His running mates, his opposition. And do you see the possibility of an alliance being formed, the opposition coming together with the president-elect to find a way to move Nigeria from where it is to somewhere better?
No. I don't see that. It would have started by you insisting on a free, fair, credible process. But this one was too glaring. The way the whole thing was done just was not at all. Even if you want to commit a crime, there's a decent way to commit that crime. This one, it was too glaring. We have an electoral act, and then we have the rule of engagement by INEC, and some of the most important and prominent provisions were flouted. And as a result, nobody would, in any election that you get into, you've got to get in with the mindset of you could win, you could lose. And that's just the way it is. But in this case, no matter how much you had primed yourself that you could lose, you want to lose honorably. You want to know that, well, we won, next time we will try it again. But this one, nobody, if it was Tinubu himself that lost this way, he would be very upset, and probably Lagos would be burning now. So I want to really commend Mr. Peter Obi in particular for being able to maintain his base, to maintain the peace. And I am in agreement with that. Let the peace be maintained, and let us see to what extent he can seek the redress, the avenues available to him. He has first the avenue of administrative review within 7 days of INEC. He has that. And then thereafter, if it's not done, he has the tribunal, and before we eventually think in terms of the court. So I really think that we should go through the legal processes. If they disappoint us, let Nigerians know what we are in for. And God help us.
All right, but I wanted to get an assessment of the elections in Akwa Ibom State, where you are currently. There, of course, were numerous claims that the election was, had a lot of fraud, basically. But of course, these are all just still allegations. So, can you share with us, what it was like in Akwa Ibom State, and then of course we can move forward.
Yes, I'll tell you. You see, in Akwa Ibom, the dynamics were quite different. For the first time in Akwa Ibom used to be a one-party state, PDP. Then it became a two-party state, PDP, APC. But in the current dispensation, they talked about the big five. And that's because PDP had somebody that broke out very, very powerful, YPP. APC also had a very big person that broke out, APC, NNPP. Then I came in, and then, of course, we had the traditional APC, YP, and PDP. So because of the called Big Five coming in, there was a lot of activation of the base because each of us pulled a lot of people into it. There was a lot of, excitement that came in, and anticipation. So when we went in for the election, the first shocker that we had, because most of us had a major belief in the electoral system, So the first shocker that we had was that, the materials were not there as much as we had expected. That was on one hand. Most people, I'll tell you this, most places were largely peaceful. I'll tell you this. The disappointment started coming when some of those administrative lapses came. Some places could not start voting on time. And then secondly, we now started looking at the upload of the result and discovered that the presidential result, because that was what people were really interested in. You won't forget that our governor was or is the chairman of the PDP, presidential campaign. So Akwa Ibom was a battleground, so to speak. And coming against a state that is extremely religious, so that Peter Obi was really, really, really like the song on every leaves and things like that. And then we still had some big boys like, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, who really wanted to impress Mr. Tinubu that he could get him 25%. So there was a lot of tussle here and there, and that tussle sometimes were not pretty. And there was a major conflict that arose between the National Assembly members who broke out from PDP and PDP, So that again, and they broke out basically into YPP. So there was quite some contestation. So within Akwa Ibom, I would say that what happened was what could be tolerated. It wasn't something that was outrageous. It was there. But what really killed everybody was this issue of IREF, where people were rushing in to check the results of the presidential, and they realized that it could not be done. And we had gone on to give them all the confidence. I mean, I talked, man, people were like, wow, if Yaitok said it, then good. And I was talking as an interested party. So right now, my mouth is, I don't even know where to put my face.
Okay, Kenneth Okonkwo of the Labour Party, I mean, there have been several claims, and one of them is that Kenneth Okonkwo had talked about the beavers and the failure of the beavers being an intentional manipulation by the All Progressives Congress to give power to the current president-elect. What are your thoughts on claims like this one? Do you think that it will hold water?
It holds water. You cannot tell me that the beavers that have been used here, there, you now don't give the people the right code to be able to access the IREF and post their results. You can't tell me that. That cannot, even if it was an error, once you send a message and said, no, at the back end, I'm quite versed with ICT generally. I know how it works. If I configure something and give to you, for instance, I give you my phone, and I told you that the unlock key was 1, 2, 3, 4. And it happened to be one I changed. Once you get a message from me saying, I can't open your phone, it is no longer 1, 2, 3, 4. All I need to do, if it's just one phone, is for me to now say, oh, sorry, I changed it to 2909. Okay? If it was a lot like beavers in the whole country, there's a back-end console that subdivides into the state, and then just like that, so for quick access. So all I need to do is, oh, sorry, we gave you a wrong code. Use this code. It does not take you 5 minutes and you get the right thing. But when within 2 days we are unable to configure, brother, something is going on. Things are getting reconfigured. Things are getting manipulated. Things are getting, something untoward is happening.
All right, let's quickly just speak on the, prospects for Nigeria, with a Baba-Ahmed Tinubu presidency. At these times that Nigerians, should be excited about going forward. I mean, pending if any of the parties goes to tribunal and how that turns out. But should Nigerians be excited about a Baba-Ahmed Tinubu presidency moving forward?
You see, there are two things. The very first is that we should not give Nigerians as what you call, expectation management. Don't tell Nigerians because it is not. Also tell the Obi Datti group, the obedient movement, tell them that it could be this way or that way. Prime the minds of Nigerians to the end that, assuming that the court says finally that it is over, let them just say, well, next time. Or assuming the court says, yes, there were errors, we've done a recalculation, and Obi has won, then let the people know that APC has to step aside. Let these two sides know that it could be until the game is over, it is not over. It's like a football match that you are leading 3-0, 10 minutes to the match does not mean that you have won the game, because we've seen a situation where in the dying minute, 2 goals are scored in 1 minute, okay? So what am I saying? Let us not say, let's start to say, assuming that it all ends on the table of APC. What I would like to look on the bright side. I would like to look at certain things. If Mr. Tinubu has been able to maintain a certain hold on Lagos, it means he has a certain staying power. Now, that staying power can be for good or for bad. So Nigerians have to let him know that Nigeria is not Lagos. He shouldn't come in with that, Emilokon. That Emilokon has ended. He's now become the chief servant of the generality of Nigerians. It's not about Lagos State that he had under his grip. Nigeria is going to be a bigger ball game. He made the first pronouncement of let's work together. I hope it is not hypocritical, because there was something he said in a certain speech that I found objectionable. When he said they wish their candidate was where I'm standing here, there was a certain body language that was derogatory, that was like, I wanted to say a certain sincerity that, look, I'm here today, they could be here tomorrow. That's giving them hope, because the Obedients were watching him. And he mocked his people. It was go check that body language. I know people who didn't vote for me, and who wish that the candidate was standing where I'm standing here. Yeah. And that was absolutely unnecessary. And if that's the mindset that he wants to carry on, then he's going to find that Nigeria is not Lagos, man. You may call Lagos a microcosm of Nigeria, but a microcosm is not the same thing as the big deal. So Nigeria is a bigger deal, and managing the diversities of Nigeria needs highest level of emotional intelligence, where you need to put in something and people like, okay. But not the ones say, hey, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see what he just did? So I think that he needs to be wise. He needs to have emotional intelligence. He needs to have great advisors. Let me end on this note. The fact that he was what he was in Lagos when he was there does not mean he's the same Tinubu. I give a very simple illustration with my mother. My mother was this hard iron lady. My mother was something else. And yet this woman comes to my house and sees me get hard on the children. She's like, no, Sana Moya, leave them. Their children. I'm like, what was I? So age plays game on people as they get older. They are not as confrontational and as aggressive, as unintentional. They start to, become a little more mellow. So I don't know how it's going to be.
I guess we can, just wait to see eventually what an Asiwaju-led government would look like. Labour Party's Peter Obi made a tweet yesterday, and let's look at what he said. In the tweet, he said, Vice Presidential candidate Dr. Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed is addressing an international press conference at the Labour Party headquarters in Abuja. I intend to address Nigerians and the international community shortly. I believe we have more tweets about this. Well, okay. What reaction did you expect from Peter Obi and as regards the win of Bola Ahmed Tinubu being announced?
Peter Obi has always been an extremely measured person. You can see his responses to everything that people try to put on him and the insults. He never fought back. Even his response to my brother Soludo, when he talked about his performance and all those things, he said, you know, you are a professor, I'm a trader. Go and do better and let the state be the better for it. You know, so I expect in his address to be less emotional, more factual, and apply emotional intelligence that will not only keep his base, but will even chip in and buy somewhat the respect of the APC people. I don't expect him to be confrontational. I don't expect him to be aggressive. I expect him to be statesmanly. I expect him to be factual. I expect him to apply some salt of emotional intelligence by using certain phraseologies. And I expect him to also show the international community that this is presidential material. So I foresee one who says, thank you for the support you've had. What's happened is definitely you've written your names on the sands of time. But I want you to know it's not the end. We must maintain a country that is law-abiding. To that end, I'm going to approach the matter systematically. First, I'll ask for administrative review. We have our facts and data and everything and by the law. And from there, if we don't find it, we will probably proceed to the tribunal, but we will definitely get to the end of this. And I have faith and confidence that the tribunal will do that which is right. To that extent, I want you, please, to those of you that were in my base, I want to let you know, please maintain the peace, go about your businesses, don't lose more than you've lost already. And to those who are victorious, so to speak, if you not use that word, I expect you to be a lot more nationalistic in your approach.
All right. Ezekiel Nyaitok, thank you so much for your time this morning. We always truly enjoy speaking with you. And of course, things progress, we will be bringing you in again to have more conversations.
Thank you. It's a privilege. God bless you both.